Hey folks, Jason Lewis, candidate for Johnson County Board of Supervisors in the primary election for the Democrats that's coming up on June 7th here, 2016. I wanted to take a few minutes just to talk to you in general about my candidacy. Honestly, I'm not your typical candidate. I am a little bit of a weirdo, to tell you the truth. I'm a writer, I'm a musician. I'm not a banker or a lawyer. I'm not looking at this as a retirement opportunity. I'm not looking at this as some way to put a feather in my cap or serve the interests of others, other than those who need the most in our county. I got involved in local politics first as someone interested in helping our schools, particularly our schools that were high free and reduced lunch or low income student populated. When my wife and I were sending our daughter to elementary school, we lived right behind Mark Twain Elementary at that time. And we got a letter from the school district that said, hey, that school behind your house, that's a school in need of assistance. And as such, the school district was required to offer us a transfer to another school that wasn't a school in need of assistance. And at that time, 7 years ago, they were actually offering bus service door to door. My wife and I were pretty nervous when we got this letter. We'd never sent a child to school before, and it was kind of shocking to think that the school that we'd lived behind for several years had some kind of problem that we hadn't been previously aware of. We'd heard grumblings about that school. We'd heard people say in a sort of code that school had problems. But our experience with it to that point had not been problematic. So we decided to send our daughter to Twain anyway, and we knew that as active, engaged parents, we would be able to make a change if we thought it was necessary. But what we found when we sent our daughter to Twain was that it was an unbelievably fantastic environment. The teachers were responsive. They were able to differentiate their teaching style. The staff was unbelievably engaged with the students, and the student population itself, while incredibly diverse, was very tight-knit. It has been an incredible experience, and now 7 years later, my daughter's graduating this month from 6th grade. She struggled a little bit with reading early on, and now she's reading well above grade level. The people who teach at Twain, the people who send their children to Twain, the people who administer that school have done an amazing job for our family and many others. That's what got me engaged. I became PTO president at Twain, and in that capacity, I started going out into the community and talking to people about what a great school it was, how the perception of Twain was not the reality. And this is where I started to suffer a series of shocks. I went to several redistricting conversations over the course of many years, and I heard things like, why should my kids have to sacrifice for the poor kids? And if you do this, you're going to ruin our neighborhood. From people who I knew and admired, who I knew and respected. And it was shocking to me that here in Johnson County, the People's Republic of Johnson County, we could have people who, just because they want to take 20 or so students from one school that's perceived to be one kind of school and send them to another school that's perceived to be a different kind of school, that this could cause such turmoil. But that turmoil goes on still to this day. Just this week, we've had yet another nearly disastrous, soon to be disastrous decision about where we're going to send our kids to school. We can't get it right. For 30, 40 years, we haven't been able to get it right. So I ran for school district board of education twice, and I was unsuccessful in being elected to the board. But now I see that what we're doing, what I'm able to do as a potential Johnson County supervisor is equally as important as anything that I could have done as a member of the school board. The problems that exist in the schools are the problems of our community. And the problems that our schools have were not necessarily created by our schools. So, we need leaders at all levels of local government working to solve those problems. I look at the way that we've developed our communities. I look at the way we continue to development. We continue our development out in concentric circles, further and further into the county, in what amounts to a sort of race to the edges while we leave behind our core. We need to work towards strengthening our core, building up our existing neighborhoods, building up and not out. in order to create a stronger community. If we continue to grow in the way that we've grown, then our schools are not going to get better. If we continue to grow in the way that we've grown, then our community will become more and more fractured. We need leaders who recognize this, and we need to do something about it. So, like I said, I got involved in this because I saw injustice. I saw misconceptions of what things were. I saw that perception and reality were different. And I continue this fight now because I realize that I want to help people. That's all I want to do. And I see that being a member of the Johnson County Board of Supervisors is an opportunity to help people and have the most impact for the most people. So I'm asking for your vote on June 7th, not because I look like someone who should be in political office, but because I act like and believe like someone who wants to serve our community. So please, get to the polls on or before June 7th, and I ask you for your vote. Jason Lewis for Supervisor. You can visit lewisforsupervisor.com for more information. Thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to me.